Hi, welcome to Ask Ellen. Real questions, real talk, real change. My name's Ellen, I'm a personal coach, and I like to help people get through the bumps and the hiccups in their lives so that they can move forward and have a happier life. Today we're talking about self-trust. We can fool others all we want. We can say we're feeling good. We can say we're doing all the right things. We can tell people that we had this intention or that intention, but the thing is, we can't lie to ourselves. We can try, and honestly, sometimes you do it subconsciously. But the thing is, you need to be able to trust yourself if you're going to make some changes in your life, if you want to succeed in incorporating new techniques or exercises or guidelines into your life. You need to be able to trust yourself that when you say you're going to do it, you'll do it. But more importantly here, I want you to understand that if you need to make changes in your life, and you've told yourself before that you were going to do it, but you didn't, there's usually an underlying something that's happening that you just aren't listening to. So is it self-trust or is it self-listening that you need a little bit more? Let's find out. Self-trust isn't about being perfect. And it's not about always doing something right. It's about knowing that when you say you're going to do something, you're going to follow through and actually do it. And when that doesn't happen consistently, something shifts. Something shifts inside. You start to second guess yourself. You start to think that you're not going to do it ever. You start not believing in your own plans. And even the simple commitments that you made to yourself, they start to feel like, well, you just can't do it. So the trust there just drops. So then you've got to ask yourself, why? Why am I not being consistent with what I'm doing? What has happened that's making it not attainable? Did I make my goal too high? Am I not in the right mindset? What am I doing? What's happening? And that's what we need to ask ourselves. Self-trust usually doesn't break all at once. It usually happens little moments at a time. When you say that you're going to start something on Monday and then you don't, or you promise this is the time you're going to stop, insert here, and you just don't. Or when you say this time will be different, and it's not. Who are we trying to kid? Who are we trying to fool? But more importantly, what's the thing that's holding you back? What is the thing that keeps you from trying? What's the thing that keeps you from setting that goal and actually doing it? Or setting the task to set the goal and not doing it? When we consistently set plans for ourselves, set tasks, set goals for ourselves, and we don't follow through, we start to find that it's harder and harder to believe ourselves that the next time it will work. I've tried it all and it just won't work. I tried every diet there is out there. I can't lose weight. It's easier to just throw your hands up and say that you can't do something because you know that other people will sympathize with you or they'll even empathize with you. Say, yeah, that happened to me too. It's easier. And sometimes we choose the easy path because that way we won't fail. Everybody else has a hard time doing this. If I have a hard time doing this, I'm just like everyone else. I haven't failed. It's what happened. But when we consistently do this, we fail ourselves because we haven't allowed ourselves to try hard enough or to stick with something long enough to see if it will actually work. We stop believing in ourselves. And when we stop believing in ourselves, we stop trusting ourselves. Here's the ironic part that I want to bring up. When we consistently hold ourselves back by saying that we just can't do it, or we don't follow through with the action that we want to take, or we just don't stick to the things that we've given ourselves, or we just kind of say, hey, I always fall off, why bother? The weird thing here is that you start believing it, but as you believe it, that becomes the norm. The norm that you just don't do. The norm that you can't follow through. The norm that you can't give yourself these tasks. You can't challenge yourself. You can't expect more. You have already decided that you're going to fail. So because of this, you don't try. But maybe we need to rethink things. Maybe we need to stop relying on the easy way out. Where has that easy road led us? Did it bring you to a place where you're happy? Did it bring you to a place of completion? Did you lose those final 5 pounds that you wanted to get rid of? It's only then that you can, if you sit back and look at what you're lacking or what you're leaving on the table by not trying, that you'll see that holding back is just that. It's keeping you stagnant. It's keeping you in that place that you don't want to be in. Sure, it's comfortable because you've been there for so long, but that doesn't mean that's where you're supposed to be for the rest of your life. Where would you be? Let's look at this thing. Let's look back 10 years. If you hadn't changed anything 10 years ago, where would you be now? Well, now let's think of you 10 years from now. Do you want to look back and think that you hadn't done anything to make the changes that you want in your life? I don't think so, because then you wouldn't be looking at this video. So how do we do this? How do we start to trust ourselves? How do we start making the changes and holding on to those changes so that we can be happy? Last week, I made a video on setbacks and how setbacks are not failures. But a lot of times when we have a setback in our lives, we just throw our hands up. We give up because we think, I was doing so well and then this happened. That always happens. Or I tried, but this happened. We give up easily. And with that setback, you all of a sudden have this open opportunity to just give up. Oh, I was doing really well, but this thing happened and now I just can't go back to what I was doing. I just failed, or I just can't get there again. We hand it off to the setback. We hand it to that setback as an excuse. And it keeps that excuse or the blame off us. But the thing is, there's no need for blame. There's no need to give up. You're only giving up on yourself. No one's holding you accountable for the things that you said to yourself that you're going to do. The only person who's accountable for it is you. So when you do hit a setback, you need to realize that the setback was just a pause. It was just a time that happened, whether you had to move or you got a new job or you were sick. Whatever it was, that setback, it just put a small pause on the progress you were making. If you were doing well before, there's no reason why you can't continue to do well. You just have to frame it in your brain so that you know you can just move forward. And that's why you don't want to let setbacks hold you back, because that setback is just there to hold on to that little bit of doubt that's in your brain. Don't let it. It doesn't have to do that. So how do we start rebuilding that self-trust? Self-trust And the rebuilding of it for yourself does not come with big, huge promises. This time I'm going to do this. This time I'm going to do that. Look, you don't have to make promises to yourself. You just need to commit. You just need to do it. More importantly, too, is you need to listen to yourself. Make small changes, small adjustments, small progress. And then you start building on the trust that way. Tell yourself you'll exercise 1 day a week. And when you do that consistently, give it 4 weeks, give it 8 weeks. Yep, I did that. Then add. Because then you can say, I totally did that. For 8 weeks, I exercised 1 day a week. Sure, in the back of your brain, you're thinking, you didn't do enough. But who cares? Listen to yourself and say back to yourself, it's okay. This is for us. So instead of being hard on ourselves and saying, oh, you could have done more, and you hear that little negative comment, say back to that comment, you're right, we can do more. So let's do a little more now. So now you've listened to yourself, you've listened to the doubt, and you've quieted down, and now you can move forward. And as you continue to do that, you'll realize that you're listening to yourself and you're helping yourself, and that you're moving forward and you're being stronger, or you're committing more, or you're succeeding in a way that feels good, that feels supportive, and makes you feel like you can do it. Now the self-doubt will start being quieter, because as you add these little bits at a time, you'll realize that you can trust yourself again to do these things. Just remember, it's just about doing something and following through with doing that something. The more times you do that, you'll realize that your self-trust is just going to get stronger. A lot of times we fall into the habit of needing to prove ourselves to someone else. But the truth of the matter is, you don't have to prove yourself to anyone. Well, anyone but yourself. And when you say big things like, I gotta do this and I gotta do that, but it's not resonating with you, you're not going to succeed, and you're not going to do it. Your follow through will fall off, because the thing is, you're trying to prove yourself to someone who doesn't matter. Once you start trying to prove it to other people, your self-doubt will kick in high gear. So instead, prove to yourself that yourself matters. And by doing that, you'll see that your self-trust will build. You'll start having one little task that you add in gradually, and you'll see that you're succeeding. You'll see that these things that you're doing slowly and steadily are building on each other. And you're going to get to the goal that you want to go to, because you didn't have this grandiose plan to do everything at once, to change everything from here to there, and you're not trying to prove yourself to anyone. If you've been feeling like you can't rely on yourself, it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. It just means that maybe you need to have a little shift and start listening to yourself. What is it that you're trying to tell yourself? Are you pushing too hard? Are you expecting too much? Are you listening to too many other people instead of just listening to yourself? You have to remember that every day that you wake up, it's because of you. You're doing the breathing in, out, all day long. You're getting from here to there. You're eating consistently. You're doing all these things. And you got to realize that as you're doing all these little things, and I understand eating, sleeping, breathing, they may not be something that you're putting on a list, but sometimes you need to start somewhere. You need to start building that trust again. And when you start with the simple things, like I have a job, I'm going to my job, I'm making enough money so I can feed myself, I'm making enough money so that I can pay rent, I'm making enough money for fill in the blank, I'm getting from here to there without needing a walker, I fill in the blank. What are you doing well? Tell yourself what you're doing well. And now after you've done all that, you can sit back and think, what more do I want to do? What more can I add so that I can be better, so that I can feel better, so I can be healthier or more flexible, whatever it is. Start listening to yourself. What are the real goals that you want in your life? Don't listen to other people and do the things that they're doing because they're doing it. What do you want to do? Listen to yourself and make small little adjustments every single day so that you can build that trust again inside you. If this video made you stop and think about how you're treating yourself or how you're talking to yourself to maybe stop yourself from forward progress, maybe you can share it with a friend. What other topics would you like me to talk about? Please put it in the comments. I'd love to find out. This is Ask Ellen. Real questions, real talk, real change. I'll see you in the next one.